Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Florida. And today our question comes to us from Reverend Vivian. And Reverend Vivian asks whether we limit our spiritual growth when we too rigidly define words. And my answer to this is yes, in my opinion, this is very much the case. When we adopt definitions which are terribly rigid, we do not permit ideas to grow and expand. Words are very slippery, elusive things. They're constantly growing and changing. You need only look at the English language, even within the last generation, to see many words which have changed and evolved in how they are used. And many times a word will have multiple meanings. Many times it will have different meanings depending upon its context, and sometimes different meanings depending upon who is using it. Also, the denotation and the connotation of a word, the literal meaning and the understood meaning, can be drastically different. So when we try to too rigidly define a word, we very often are losing a lot of its actual meanings and the way that people understand it. We also, again, prevent it from evolving or changing. One of the things about being human is that we grow. Our ideas do not stay the same, or at least ideally they don't. They expand, they adapt, they evolve. And this should certainly be true with our spiritual concepts as well as any others. Therefore, we have to let the words that we use to describe them evolve with them, or else we're going to be trying to use words that do not really match our understandings, and we won't be able to express the things that we have learned. So I'm a great believer in the idea of not too rigidly defining your terms. Having said that, I would not say that defining our terms is a bad thing, and I think that sometimes we can too loosely define them as well. And I think it's a rather fine line between these two, but I think it's very important to allow words to evolve and grow. It's also very, very, very important not to get too hung up on how other people use words. And many times in the metaphysical community, different branches of that community will use certain words in different ways. And I think worrying too much about that is really a red herring that distracts us from more important issues, including the things that we have in common, and more important issues that we might wish to focus on rather than the words that we are using. In my opinion, one of the worst things that we're seeing in the realm of ideas today is that a lot of people are mistaking pedantry for intelligence. And these two things are not only not the same, but they're at odds with one another. Pedantry is the practice of being overly rigid, overly narrow, overly precise in one's terms and understandings. And intelligence, in my opinion at least, is very expansive in character and must be able to grow and evolve if it's going to be actually intelligent at all. And so I would say that these two things are very much at cross purposes, yet again people are mistaking them for one another. And I think it's doing no one any good. So, to sum it up, yes, I totally agree that too narrowly defining our terms is a very bad thing for our spiritual growth or anything else in life. Now, again, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't try to define our terms at all, and it can be a fine line between these two things. But to be too narrow and too rigid in one's terms and ideas locks one into a particular pattern that in the normal course of events we will of course outgrow because we always continue growing. Therefore, our ideas and our words must be able to grow with us. So those would be my thoughts on the matter. I hope you find them helpful, and until next time, may you blessed be. Pray for peace. Pray for love. Pray for stability. Pray for the nation where you live. Pray for the world. Reverend Don, super omnibus of incantations and invocations for all occasions. Marianne Kay and I created this massive compendium of magic and artwork for you to use in any way that you would like. There are literally hundreds of spells and hundreds of illustrations, which can be mixed and matched and used in many different ways. Check it out now at witchghoulstore.com.